Good afternoon. This is KDXI St. George, Radio St. George at 100.3 FM. And we welcome you to Startup Nation. Up-and-coming startups, entrepreneurs go face-to-face with proven business leaders and talk funding, innovation, current business trends, technology, and social media's role in business. And now your host for Startup Nation, Ed Tracey.
What's up, America? Happy Tuesday. Ed Tracey here, Startup Nation. Great week. Weather's beautiful here in St. George. And I'm wearing black shirt. Actually, everybody in here is wearing a black shirt. Go figure. Is that a martial arts thing? Self-defense? Everybody wears black in self-defense?
It's pretty much.
I wear it because I'm fat. So we got a great show. Before we get going here, just a couple of reminders of stuff going on around town. Of course, tomorrow, May 15th, is the St. George Chamber of Commerce lunch at the Holiday Inn. They're going to talk about the closure of the airport. So if any of you guys ever flown into St. George Airport?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I flew here when I got off my mission.
You did?
Yeah.
From where?
Texas.
You could have walked, buddy.
Yeah.
I've only flown in one time to St. George, and it was into the old St. George Airport. Do you remember when it was up on the ridge?
Yeah.
I don't recommend you ever do that. That's why that place is gone. I'm telling you right now. That was a treat.
That's actually why I flew in.
Holy mackerel. It was like a roller coaster ride gone bad. You're like, everybody brace yourselves. Anyway, so they're going to talk about that. That's at the Holiday Inn. Lunch is $15. You can go to the St. George Area Chamber of Commerce website and reserve your space. Seating is limited, so make sure you get that taken care of. Of course, Friday, June 7th, is the St. George Street Fest, which I'm personally fond of. And this time around, we have a car show. So it's the first time they've ever done a car show downtown St. George. It's sponsored in part by, of course, TDS, Stapley Pharmacy, Backcountry Shutter, St. George Beverages, Silver Reef Brewing Company. Do you know we have a brewery in St. George?
I heard about that. That's exciting.
There's a lot of happy Protestants, let me tell you right now. So they do a lot for the community, and they are big sponsors, Arts Incorporated, City of St. George, and that is 6 to 10 p.m. Friday, June 7th. If you've never been, you guys should go. You should come down there and, start a fight or something. Actually, we have protesters. You guys can come down and help me get rid of them. If you've never been, it's huge. We get about 15,000 people down there. There's awesome food trucks. Of course, the beer and wine garden. We do live music. I don't even remember who's on the bill for this time around. Oh, Enoch Rising is one of them. Rock Docs and Gary Huff. If you've never heard those guys, great musical artists. And so that's a lot of fun. That's what's going on around town. Of course, if there's anything that you want to know, you can always check the St. George Area Chamber of Commerce website. You can go to Ed Tracey Live. You can check any of those, St. George News. There's always something going on. If you tell me that you can't find something to do in this town, you're wrong. There's plenty to do. And we're working on more stuff. So, of course, karaoke every Friday night. Are you a singer? Any of you guys singers?
No.
Sing in the shower? I don't want to.
Shower karaoke, car
karaoke. Yeah. Karaoke.
My wife's a singer. She's the only one that I would ever sing in front of.
Gotcha. You're one of those, huh?
Yeah.
Sing so bad the water shuts off in the shower?
Pretty
Gotcha.
much.
I love karaoke. That's Friday night at Wingnut. So anytime you really, really want to feel good about yourself, come to karaoke. Today we're going to talk, we've done this before with funeral homes and other things. We have two fitness organizations from around town. We've got Celeste Kohler and Ben. Are you two related?
We are, husband and wife team.
Oh, well, there you go. Kohler also.
Yeah.
Kohler. Celeste and Ben Kohler from Saint City Krav Maga and Kickboxing. Who doesn't want to kick butt and look good doing it? I got that off your website. I like that.
Isn't that awesome? It's totally catchy, isn't it?
It is very catchy. So you are, and we'll talk more about this, you're a black belt in Kenpo.
Yes, sir.
And a first-degree black belt in Taekwondo.
Correct.
And Skylar Gubler from Red Rock Martial Arts. You specialize in Tang Sudo.
Yeah, Tong Sudo, but
Gesundheit. I tried really hard to get these right. Which is over 2,000 years old?
Yeah.
You look pretty good.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Moisturizer.
You guys teach how to lead a life of discipline. I'm trying to do this without my glasses. Self-respect, and I wrote this. And how to defend yourself in combative situations.
Correct.
Awesome. So, and strangely enough, they're actually located in the same building, which is, good. Could be, probably fight for the same business, but get it, fight anyway. It's got to be good. I think to have competition is good, as I said when you guys were walking in here. Nothing wrong with that. Keeps you on your toes. So in the first half of the show, we'll talk a little bit to each of you guys about what you've done to get where you are and what you decide. What made you decide to take the route that you were taking, and then we'll go to a commercial break halfway through, and then we'll talk about the business of what you do, how you get your customers, and what you do on slow days to bring people in, and what you're doing for social media and that sort of stuff. So, Celeste, we're going to start with you. How long have you been doing? Now, Krav Maga is not martial arts.
It's
right?
a series of different types of martial arts that have been sourced by Imi Lichtenfeld. He's actually the founder.
Now, isn't it Israeli?
It's Israeli hand-to-hand combat.
Okay,
so it's heavy-duty stuff. I love it because it's super approachable with what's going on in real-world violence today. So
gotcha.
It's really awesome in the way of it's easy. It's for everybody to learn. It's super easy to learn, and it's practical. It's what's happening today.
Gotcha.
Kids are taking guns and knives to schools today. Why aren't we teaching kids how to disarm and how to protect themselves? And the best way to do that is to give them tools of confidence.
Sure.
And technique.
Sure.
And, it's just a super easy, approachable self-defense system.
And you also do kickboxing, right?
Correct. We sure do.
And what's the main thing with kickboxing? Is that just another form of martial arts? Is it kind of a combination?
Absolutely. It's sourced from martial arts. So our house blend is Kenpo, Taekwondo, and Muay Thai. And it's very important that we maintain the traditionalism of the martial arts striking and kicking and blocking. Then we put it into a really fun, wicked combination so that they can get their burn on and burn some calories, kick some butt, and look good while they're doing it, too.
Not to mention, girls that do kickboxing are hot.
They sure are. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
We've got some hotties up in there.
Mm-hmm. I'm single. I'm coming over.
Single and ready to mingle. I have a few for you.
God bless America.
I got you, God.
Atta girl. So now, which one did you start in first? Obviously, you know both, right? You do both.
I started my martial arts journey when I was 8, approaching 9 years old. So I've been in martial arts for quite a while now. Girl never reveals her age, but I started out in Kenpo. 10 years. 10 years.
Ben, don't say it, Ben.
So I started out in Kenpo when I was 8. I was bullied when I was a child. I was really small, so always the underdog. So I got picked on quite a bit. My parents enrolled me into martial arts, and it stuck with me throughout my whole life. And
now you're still kind of tiny. How tall are you?
5'2" and 3/4.
And 3/4. Gotcha. It's the 3/4 that makes a difference, right?
Sure does.
But you don't have to be big to be able to protect yourself.
No,
obviously.
Gotta be mighty.
Right. And how long have you had this business that you have now?
Oh, shoot. Well, I've worked for very successful martial arts companies in Las Vegas for several years, for well over 10 years, for over a decade. And then from there, we moved here back to St. George, Utah. This is our base home. And we immediately opened our studio, 5 years ago on the boulevard right next to Ace Hardware.
Oh, really?
So right on Mac & Son's property right there.
Yeah.
So we started out super small, and that's kind of what our strategy was, is just start out small, pack them in, get our name out there. And it took us about 3 years to kind of get that notoriety and get noticed. Being on the bottom of the boulevard, I thought I would have got more exposure. The name and the actual kickboxing logo that you see here on his T-shirt, that actually got a lot of attention, but the actual foot traffic wasn't that great, specifically because the age targeted there wasn't exactly
skewed older.
Yeah, a little bit older, a little bit more mature.
The Bluff Street construction that went on this last year.
Not a lot of people were thrilled with that. I mean, obviously, it was great for the community, and
great today.
Yes,
the last couple years have been painful.
Yeah, no doubt. I moved here when they were tearing down the building that was right on the corner. I think it was Jazzy's right there.
Yeah,
Wasn't that right there? Yes, they were just tearing that building down when I moved here, and I thought, oh, what are they doing here?
Right.
Tearing up the street.
We kind of skirted out of that in time, though. Our lease just happened to kind of
there you go.
and we were in that process of looking for other places to go, and it just kind of worked out. It was super beneficial that we found where we did, and we've got great neighbors. I can't complain about that at all. We've got a great location now, and I'm sitting next to one of our neighbors now, and it's kind of awesome to have that huge contrast, because if we're a little bit maybe too aggressive for somebody, or maybe we're not exactly what they were hoping for, maybe in that traditional sense, I always shoot them down to Skylar, and that's their guy for traditionalism.
Sure.
And it's really great to have that kind of partnership and to be able to piggyback off of each other that way.
Cool.
I don't think of it as a competition, really.
Right.
I think of it as neighborly, in my opinion.
Now, did you guys meet doing martial arts, or?
No, actually. We actually...
We've been together 23 years, and 21 years ago,
When you were
you
5?
got me into it.
Really? All right.
yeah.
And do you teach as well, or you just kind of?
sir.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good. It's a husband and wife team. I love that. I have been in the restaurant business for forever, or some form of entertainment, and I was never married to a woman that liked my work. So it makes
Well,
it tough.
I like the way he works. That's for dang sure. Love it.
I don't have anywhere to go with that.
I'm just going to go
okay.
and smile.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just smiling.
It's great.
Skylar and his wife are also husband-wife team in their business as well. So it's kind of an awesome thing
That is.
that's going on.
So, Skylar, you are. Where did I write it here? There it is. So you have.
He doesn't have his glasses,
Te-
folks.
Tang Soo Do is a Korean martial art, right?
Correct.
And what is your degrees in, and how long have you been doing it? And because you guys are pretty young. I mean, you're young too. I mean, I'm just saying, these guys look young.
I don't age
It's
as well as
martial
these
arts.
guys. 'Cause
That's another secret.
I was told it's not the age of the car, but the miles on the car, and I put a lot of miles on my body.
I get it, buddy. I tell everybody I'm 70 and I take really good care of myself, which is not the case at all.
I'm a 4th degree master in the World Tang Soo Do Association. So I've been doing it since I was 12,
Awesome.
and that'll be 19 years this fall. And then I am part of the World Tang Soo Do Association. So we're a worldwide association that's over in 135 countries with over 200,000 members.
Awesome.
So we recently just went to Sierra Vista, Arizona, and our students, they test for black belt in front of a master's panel. And so we had a few students test for black belt.
Now,
and
when I
master's
think
panel.
Arizona, I don't think martial arts. So explain to me why it was in
Well,
Sierra Vista.
Every area is broken down into regions.
Okay,
Our
all right.
region just is statewide. It's New Mexico, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, and then a little tiny city in Idaho. Just one little city. though.
Burley?
No, it's Island Park.
Oh, even smaller.
yeah.
Oh my
Even
goodness.
blink and you miss it.
Right.
Yeah,
right
it's
next to
pretty awesome, though.
Yellowstone.
It's pretty awesome.
Now, is this the only form of martial arts that you teach?
Yeah, we have Tang Soo Do as our base art, but we are mixed with, we have some Aikido in there, and also what we call split-second survival, which is more of self-defense style.
Gotcha. Now, Celeste said she kind of got into it because she was bullied. Is there a reason you got?
It's the exact same story.
is.
I mean, I wanted
Are you
to
saying
start-
redheads get picked on?
Right.
Knowing what I know of you, I would never pick on you.
I was tiny, just like her. I had ADHD and I had flaming red hair, and so it was just like and huge glasses, and so just was a target. All in the sense that like I wanted to get started a lot younger, but my parents didn't think I was quite focused enough to do it.
Gotcha.
End up being what taught me how to focus, what I needed to do. So.
Sure, because I'd imagine, and you hear it all the time, you learn incredible self-discipline, incredible
Right.
focus
Absolutely.
doing martial arts because you really have to hone in on everything around you and what you're doing. And so I'd imagine that probably not only helped you defend yourself, but to kind of get
Build that
yourself in tune.
confidence.
Yeah, big time.
For sure.
Totally, dude.
Yeah, my number one goal when I started was to beat up every bully that ever crossed me, and then I ended up getting confident, and then they stopped picking on me. So I was like, "Dang it, could beat them up."
Because confidence comes out of your pores, man. You don't have to bully anybody back to show them that you're confident. I know. And if they see that about you, they're like, okay. I grew up in New York. I just hang around the black guys when I was growing up, and that was perfect self-defense for me. What'd you say? Tyrone.
Tyrone,
Take
take
care of
care of him.
So you've been doing it since you were 12.
Right.
And how long have you had your business?
We've been in our location now. It'll be 5 years in July, but we've been open since 2010.
Okay.
That's awesome.
That is pretty
So
cool.
9 years. Started in dance studios and just sort of subletted, kind of like what they did, but I didn't have my own location. Just sort of started small. I actually started in my parents' basement. I had 2 students and just teaching, living that American dream, living at home, teaching martial arts in my parents' basement.
That's awesome.
Look at you now, man. That's an awesome success story.
And now,
That's
and
cool.
you also mentioned that you served a mission for your church.
I did.
In Texas.
Yeah, Fort Worth.
Did it come in handy there at all?
Oh, yeah, funny story. I got called Elder Norris. That was kind of my nickname, Elder, because Tungsten is Chuck Norris's art. Our
Oh, it is?
grandmaster
All right.
actually trained Chuck Norris.
Elder Norris.
And people in Texas are very passionate.
About everything.
It's definitely about everything, but really about Jesus. Super passionate about Jesus. And if your view of Jesus doesn't quite line up with their view of Jesus, they're definitely going to let you know. And so I was brand new, and some guy came to take off my name tag off my shirt. And the second he came into my person, I wrist locked him, and I didn't even think about it. And I told him, I was like, "Don't ever touch me or my companion again."
Or you're going to meet Jesus.
Yeah. And then I put him down. He backed away, and he was all scared. And my companion looks at me and goes, "What was that?" I was like, "What was what?" And he goes, "You just almost broke that guy's wrist." And I was like, "Oh, oops."
Oh, that. Oh, that.
Oh, that's nothing.
And then I had another companion mission.
That's
too
funny.
He got in a fight, and my mission companion put me with him, and he goes, "You're a black belt, right?" And I go, "Yeah, what does that have to do with anything? Like, I don't know." And he goes, "Well, if this elder causes you any issues, I want you to
Handle him.
take care of it."
Oh,
And I was like, "Oh my gosh." Well,
So, needless to say, everybody there wanted you to be their partner in crime, right?
right.
I'm sure. Too funny. And your wife also does this.
She does.
And how long she been doing it?
She's been doing it 9 years in September.
Awesome.
She started in September of 2010.
And
And we were she got into it because of me. We went on a few dates, and I was like, "Hey, I'm pretty serious about this. So if we get serious, will you try this out?" I was like, "I don't care if you don't do it very much, but you got to know that it means a lot to me."
wow.
She tried it out and kept going. So,
I was like that with skydiving and my first wife. She's not around anymore.
wah.
You know, if you really, and I don't do that anymore either.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah, literally. Yeah,
or clip the
exactly.
parachute, whatever.
Boom. Yeah. After 4,200 jumps, she go, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do this anymore. And she wouldn't either. In fact, when my kids are like almost 30 now, my 2 oldest. And when they turned 18, I said, hey, you guys are going to go skydiving? Let's go. So the worst thing they did was tell their mother. So every time they turned 18, my kids would disappear because she'd hide them.
Oh
for
my
like,
God.
yeah, you're not taking our sons skydiving. So, I probably would have been okay doing some sort of martial arts or defensive training, and I
Right.
would have been okay. But yeah, they weren't getting in a plane with me. So, so your wife works with you now? Is that
No, she's a full-time graphic artist.
Oh,
and
sweet.
She's got her degree from Dixie State University.
very cool?
And she works at Maga Pro, so she's kind of our back end. She trains, but she runs more like the marketing and the graphic part of our business.
Can she kick your butt?
No, but yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure
Well
she
said.
can, just in different ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Good answer, buddy.
She knows the weak areas. So.
Yeah, exactly. So now you both are in a good location, in my opinion. I think especially in this town, you got to find a place because until recently, this was just snowbird territory, right? You came here, I called it God's waiting room. No offense to the people that are listening, but everybody was over the age of 70, and there was not a lot of stuff to do. You're in a great location. You're right by the campus, obviously. Do you see a lot of people from the university that come to teach from you, or is it kids? Is it older folks? What's the mix?
We get a healthy mix, I would say, specifically because we're next to the hair college. So we do get some of those older folks, and they'll pop in, and they'll actually come and sit on our benches. And
Hairdressers need self-defense.
yes, they do, and they actually come in quite a bit when we hold
Are they
self-defense
really?
seminars and
We have
things. And
we have a lot of college students because we offer great student rates
Sure.
for the actual students that come to Dixie College, and so we have young and old, and we offer kids programs, adult programs, and that college age program we offer a discount to. So it's,
That's awesome.
It's a great draw.
And how about you guys?
Our demographic is probably 75% children and then 25% adults and teenagers.
Here's the thing I think that's great about self-defense, martial arts, kickboxing, all that stuff. Young kids, especially in the last, I say 20 years, everybody's got ADD, everybody's got this, everybody's got that. And what do? They pill the heck out of you. They put you on medication, and they mask it up. To me, this is like the best way to do it without having to go through the medication, I would think.
Right. I lived that life. When I was in 3rd grade, that's when I was put on like 8 different medicines.
Oh, yeah, man.
And I kept balancing over and over and over again. It turned anywhere from like extreme anger to extreme just sleepiness, whatever.
Oh, jeez.
And
Sad.
It's
about 6
crazy.
months of training, my parents, they pulled my medicine, and I've been med-free ever since for 19
It's
years.
cool.
So.
And I think these gentlemen can agree when I say the beautiful part about martial arts, it's sequential. So you're learning things in a very sequential form. And what we teach, everything's very left to right so that your brain can actually process it, and your brain naturally knows what to do with it so you can retain it. And that's a really therapeutic part of martial arts. But not only is it sequential and it's therapeutic, it's a very natural way to let children release their aggression. I mean, I'm sure you can kind of agree with me. Being bullied as a child, there was some stress involved there. And, you know, kids have stress too, and we need to understand that and allow children.
Your grades go down.
Yes.
You suffer at home. You don't want to leave the house.
They have a lot of pressure
Yeah,
too.
I really hate it when parents don't validate children's stress. Like, stop crying. Like, sorry you didn't get your cookie you wanted. Like, come on. Like, it's just different than you just process your brain differently. Like,
I get it.
They're just
Totally get
they're adults just in a little body with
Sure.
you know, they're going through the same things that we do as adults. They just don't know how to put it out there. Hey, I'm feeling stressed, or hey, I'm struggling here. They don't know how to do that, and the way that they do it is act out. And that's the one thing that I do love about martial arts specifically, for children, is it teaches them that discipline of, hey, we're going to work this out by letting you release it in a natural way, and it's physical because they get to be physical, and you get to release those endorphins, and it's beautiful to watch kids transform from not being able to sit still to being some of the most disciplined soldier-looking children that you'll ever see.
Well, and I'm pretty sure this is the case. The younger you are, the easier it is to retain things. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
easier to learn it from the ground up. 53 years old, I ain't learning nothing.
we just
You
had
can't teach me
Are you trying to tell me you're an old dog?
nothing.
one of our black belt candidates this last weekend was 59. He's turning 60 in July. So,
Just starting?
yeah, he just tested for his black belt.
Oh, he
He's
did?
3.5 years
See,
in.
now you just
so.
blew, now all my excuses went out the
No,
window.
no pressure,
dude.
Ed.
Dang it!
Right?
You guys are killing me over
I have
here.
a 68-year-old student as well.
Really?
So I put that out there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's got started because her grandkids are black belts in our school.
See that? I love that though. I love
It's
that.
a great way to bond, and it's an awesome family activity, whether it's downstairs with Skylar and his crew or upstairs with us. Martial arts really is for everybody, and I think that's beautiful. Like, we have senior citizen students as well. I believe our oldest is 78, and he's a snowbird.
That's
and
awesome.
he literally comes here every single year to train, and this year he'll actually be missing because he'll be serving a mission. Where's he going? Isn't it Kenya?
Yeah.
Wow.
Somewhere in Africa.
Ooh.
I don't remember.
But
where.
he has the best military ding push-ups you'd ever seen in your
At
life.
least he
He-
knows
Yeah.
Krav.
Yeah, he'll-
Somebody
Right?
tries to mess with him.
Right. He does
He'll drop
actually
and
take
do-
Krav.
Yeah,
He's
he'll drop
amazing.
and do push-ups better than my 18-year-old kids, and I'm just
Right? It's
Yeah.
fascinating.
I
He
do
just
one
kicks
sit up
butt.
in the morning. Sit up?
Out of bed.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll be
I need to change that. You guys need to help me here. You guys
We
need to
say
help
the
me.
hardest part of martial arts is getting in the car and
For
coming.
sure.
Oh, dude, even in gym, you know, I mean, it's just, you build a habit. It's building a habit,
Right.
really. You just got to get into the habit of doing it. And once you see the results or feel the results or see the difference, all of a sudden you're hooked, man.
Oh, dude, it's addicting.
Oh, totally.
We're like very belt oriented, so we have lots of different belts. And I always tell everybody, white belt is better than sitting on a couch belt. Like,
I like that. That's
Touche.
true.
Touche. Now, do you guys have a belt system with what you do?
Not in our kickboxing program. That's more fitness based.
Okay.
So we welcome every experience level into that program, specifically because people are in there they just want to feel good, you
Sure.
know. And we have that one common goal. Everyone just wants self improvement, and awesome. Every single person in there. There's no egos. We pride ourselves on a community, and they're a real
Sure.
family. So there's no levels per se in kickboxing. You just go at your own pace, kick ass on your own, and we work with it together. Sorry, I don't know if I can say
It's
that.
okay. That word's okay.
Sorry.
There's some words that aren't okay. That one's okay.
Okay. Sorry.
It was nice working here, everybody.
Right.
Good night.
Right. Take care. But in our Krav Maga system, because of the nature of the program and the seriousness of the program, there are certifications that are involved. So yes.
So similar to a belt
yes,
system.
it is a belting system, but it's more of a certification that you can proficiently and effectively pass each level. So it's amazing. It's seriously mind and body transforming because it gives you a different set of confidence, and
Sure.
it's particularly for our college age girls, young ladies.
Right.
I'm not allowed to talk to them.
I can't know why, Ed.
I don't know. Ask Cammie Bowker
Oh, I think she'll tell me.
and my buddy Cammie.
With that dazzling smile of yours,
Oh,
goodness.
she's so funny.
Lock it up.
I love that woman. And her husband's a saint.
Oh, I love him. Bob's an awesome
Bob's
guy.
a good guy.
Absolutely.
Well, that means we've got about 3 seconds left here. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the business of your business and how you guys make money and some of the challenges. We'll be right back. Stick around, Startup Nation. We'll be right back.
Hi there, this is Bill McLaughlin of Exploring Music, inviting you to come along as we explore the world of the prodigy, those seemingly divinely gifted young musicians whose accomplishments make our jaws drop just as they make our spirits soar. We'll listen to prodigies from Mozart on down to the present day. Join us for Wunderkinder, the world of the prodigy, this week on Exploring Music.
Exploring Music, weekdays at 5 on Radio St. George 100.3. Radio Dixie is sporting some new custom and embroidered swag, including bowling shirts, Dickie shirts, fleece jackets, t-shirts to be given away, cell phone wallets, bags, and a whole bunch more. And this is all because of Corey at Extreme Graphics. Screen printing, embroidery, vinyl, graphic design, Extreme Graphics with an X, a sweet sponsor of DSU Radio.
The city of St. George is one of the fastest growing communities in the United States and is world renowned for its outdoor activities. sgcity.org/event calendar is a complete list of all the events the city of St. George puts on. Pickleball, swimming, festivals, classes, camps, and lessons for old and young alike. A list of things so long we can't say them all here. Find out what's happening in St. George at sgcity.org/event calendar.
It's time for you to get the Radio St. George app. It's available on iTunes or Google Play. You can stream audio and video, listen to podcasts, make a request, and so much more. Download the Radio St. George app today. We made it for you. The Radio St. George app on iTunes or Google Play.
You're listening to Radio St. George at 100.3 FM.
We welcome you back to Startup Nation. Here's your host, Ed Tracey.
We are back, everybody. Hopefully our mics were off on this last break. But
Sorry.
if they weren't, it was nice knowing everybody. We are here with the Kohlers from Saint City Krav Maga and Kickboxing, and Skylar Gubler from Red Rock Martial Arts. And so, first of all, how did you get into this business, each of you? What were you doing before you did this?
I started out, I was a student. And I hate tooting I'm not an egotistical person, but when you're noticed for your skill and blah, 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 all that crap, you
Sure.
get noticed by,
Yeah, of course.
by your instructors and whatnot. And so they're like, you should start teaching classes. And I used to when I was much younger. Life changes and you get married, you have kids and blah, blah, blah. And
How many kids do you have?
we have 3.
Quitter.
Oh, no, I'm totally good.
Two of them are black belts.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And one's a purple belt, so we definitely
Take out the garbage. Make me.
They're really awesome. So it started out because I got recognized with instructors that were like, "Hey, you need masters and whatnot." They're like, "You need to do this. You need to instruct. You've got talent and you have something to offer people." And so it kind of started out that way, very small scaled. I didn't get paid for it for quite a long time. I got paid in smiles.
But you were sinking money into it.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Of course you do. I mean, it's
any small business.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a labor of love before it pays you back.
Yeah.
So you work for other people, and you're working for smiles at that point.
Right.
And but it was worth it. The whole thing was worth it. And then I continued my instructorship for other companies, and I worked really hard.
In
proved
Vegas or
myself.
here?
Vegas, Las Vegas. I worked for a massive major martial arts company there, and
Easier to get business down there, probably?
absolutely,
Yeah.
there's one on every corner. It's
Yeah.
like churches here.
I
mean,
have a
there's-
black belt in Vegas with his own school.
Yeah.
Really?
So
Yeah.
they're everywhere.
I know a dancer in Vegas. Does that
I
count?
bet you do, Ed.
Does she have a black belt?
I give the charity once a month. That's her name. She has my belt. I'm pretty sure anyway,
goodness.
that got awkward real fast.
Hello.
Hello, I'll be here all week. So you, at what point did you say, you know what, I'm going to come up here and start my own? How long were you doing it from at that point?
Well, I worked for another company for over 10 years.
Okay.
We landed here in St. George in 2014.
And you're from here?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm from here. I'm originally from Salt Lake City, Utah. Moved down here when I was a kid. But long
Gotcha.
story short,
Gotcha.
we moved down here about 5 years ago from Las Vegas. And he said, it's time. You need to do this and offer our community what we were doing up there, just on our own scale and for ourselves, not for another company.
Sure.
And so we took a chance. We did it with what little money that we had, and
It's a leap of faith.
it was a leap of
Right?
faith. We
Totally.
took a
Always.
huge financial
Always.
risk, and we just kind of sunk what was left in our savings, and we bit the bullet, and we did it.
Did it all on your own. You didn't have to go get loans.
No.
So you what they call bootstrapping. You did it all with your own
Yeah,
money.
Same.
mattress money right underneath
Right?
that mattress, right? So definitely did it on our own, and the reward of that, I mean, you can't replace that feeling of knowing that you built your own business up from literally your own blood, sweat, tears,
Sure.
and your own savings. And it was a huge risk. I mean, at a few points, I was just kind of ready to be retired.
You're done.
Right.
Yeah,
I wanted to retire actually a couple of years ago, and too many things in this beautiful world just kept sending me messages saying that it wasn't time for me
Sure.
to stop.
Sure.
And there's so many reasons as to why we do it. We help drug and alcoholics recover physically.
Oh, I'd imagine that's got to be great for them.
Yes, we have amazing programs that come in, and we work
actually
with them.
work privately with some people here in town. I can't mention them because
Right.
but they're private classes for those
Very cool.
drug and alcohol recovery centers here in St. George.
Yeah,
also
we
work
work
That's awesome.
with several of those, and we
with
work with
mental health
mental
with
health clinics.
Southern Utah behavioral clinic with the teenagers.
Very cool.
Women
for
that are
private classes.
recovering
Very
from,
nice.
from domestic and sexual assault abuse. So we have our hands in a lot of rehabilitative programs. And
Hence why we get
it's-
paid with smiles sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes you got to, right? And sometimes
Smile.
those feel better than the cash.
Absolutely.
Really.
Take that
I mean, if
better
you
than
think
a
about it.
paycheck. any day.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I live for, is helping. And then within this last 6, 7, I don't know, maybe 8 months at the most, met the Bokers. And now we have our hands in human trafficking and prevention, and we're
Can't get over how big that is here.
It's huge. It's disturbing how huge it is. And, you know, our focus for this program to help with human trafficking is a big thing. It's a huge priority for us, is to teach these young women, and I'm not going to exclude boys,
Sure.
because it happens to them as
Yep.
well. Let's be real about it. It's not just females that are being targeted. How disgusting is that? Like, that's a new thing, having sex with children.
It's sad. It's
know,
just when you
let's-
think the world can't get any crazier,
Right. So
you discover something like this and you're like, you've got to be kidding me.
that's our focus, is building these young adults up, starting at the age of what I consider a very vulnerable golden age 5. Because they're very vulnerable. But in our kids program specifically, we're teaching them how to be vocal, to use the strongest muscle that we have on our body, and that's your voice. And so we're trying to teach these young people not to get from point A to point B.
Right.
Because point B, we're never seeing you again.
Yep.
And
Sure.
so it's huge for us. We get to go to Haiti in a couple of months here and do self-defense camps for the children in Haiti
Very cool.
and the Dominican Republic. We work with children that have been trafficked here locally, and they come in and we help them with their physical rehabilitative processes. And it's awesome to watch them get their power back and to see the confidence bloom. You can't put a price on that. I don't care. You can give me $1 million, and it's not going to ever buy that feeling that you get from helping someone recover.
You know, the other thing, too, here, suicide rates are huge. here.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable. I wasn't even here a year, and there were 3 suicides in one of the high schools here in a year. You know, this has got to be something, self-defense.
Yeah, that's definitely something we talk about, is the bullying. Bullying that leads to teen suicide or even youth suicide is just ridiculous, because everybody has this weird belief
That's true.
system that, oh, it's just words. It's not going to hurt you. Like you can just choose not to listen to it. I remember just being a little kid and my dad would tell me that. He's like, hey, it doesn't hurt you. And I'm like, well, then why am I feeling this way? Because, like, it hurt me.
Right.
And you can't just go to school and kick each other's butts,
No,
in the
you
old
can't.
day.
Right.
When
So we have, like, the verbal bullying program we work on in schools. 7 strategies to defeat a bully without physical violence. So.
yeah, if you can, it's a mind game too. I'm sure it's gone are
It's
the
a
days.
fine line.
Yeah, totally.
There's a huge fine line.
Totally.
The only way to get a bully out of your face, unfortunately, is to stop it. And I'm a big firm believer in using your voice and standing up.
Sure.
And you have a right to protect yourself.
Yep.
They make you feel little, small, threatened. Remove the threat.
Yep.
Absolutely, 100%. You can disagree with me, and that's fine. But you get in my face and you
Sure.
make me feel threatened, you're going to pay.
My oldest, and I love the story because it's actually happened. He's 30 years old, just turned 30, and when he was a kid, he's 6'8" now. He's a giant. But back then, he was just a little quiet kid, and the neighbor kids would pick on him constantly. And he'd come home from school crying. He'd say, Dad, Scotty, the kid's name was Scotty. I don't know what he's doing. I'm sure he's doing time.
What is it with
right
those
now.
Scotties?
I bet he doesn't know.
Dang Scotties. If he ever met my son now, he'd probably wet himself. But he's like, Dad, he's picking up me. I don't want to go to school. And I'm like, look, you need to talk to him and say, look, you need to stop bothering me or I'm going, he'd punch him and push him. I'd say, you tell him, if you hit me one more time, I'm going to hit you back. And then what? Hit him back. So 2 weeks go by, nothing. Comes home crying hysterically. What's the matter? Scotty was fighting with me and I told him not to hit me or I'd hit him back. And I said, and what happened? He goes, I knocked his out.
Nice.
I was like, okay. I was on the sofa for like a week. My wife was mad at me. But, you have to teach your kids to defend themselves. And if that's the case,
I agree with that, just simply because sometimes it takes that person to realize, like, hey, you're not going to push me around. You're
Right.
not going to put your hands on me. It's not okay for people to put their hands
It's
on
not
other
okay.
people.
It's
At
not
any
okay.
age.
And you're supposed to
Nope.
just sit there and let them?
No.
I'm sorry.
Any age.
That's weird, and no. No,
I
thank
bet
you.
any martial arts owner will probably tell you that. I always talk about, there's steps that you could do. You talk to them, you talk to the parents, you talk to your teacher, all this stuff. And then at the end of the day, if all the talking doesn't work, you got to hit them. That's the end.
You need to come to karaoke with me. There's some great
Right.
fights there.
Got to de-escalate the situation first. If that
Yeah.
doesn't work, then you have an absolute right to stand up for yourself.
Absolutely. And to be prepared for that is, sometimes diffuses the situation without it getting to that point.
Yeah.
It all stems from that confidence.
Mhm.
It's all
Absolutely.
about confidence. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Ben. What-
And what I was going to say is that, the one thing my dad always said to me was sticks and stones can break your bones is a lie. Because words are the only thing that when they break you down, you can't heal from. You can heal from breaks,
Oh.
cuts. Words, when they demoralize your heart, your soul, your mind, those things don't come back. And so enough's enough sometimes. And then the one thing that Celeste can say and I can say, and I guarantee Skylar's already said it, is the more you learn how to protect yourself, some people walk in and say, I want to be able to protect myself because I've gotten a lot of fights or a lot of whatever. When they realize when you start to do martial arts, you get in less fights, you get in less confrontations, you get in less than anything because of your sheer self-confidence. Exudes from your body, like you said, at the very beginning of this
Energy, absolutely.
Talk is
It just changes.
and I don't get in confrontations. You completely just have the mental ability to not go red or see red, or because you can de-escalate it, realizing that if it ever got to that point, you could fix it.
Sure. Absolutely. So you've had your business how long there?
9 years.
And before that, you were
Funny story. I've worked other full-time jobs, but I've always been doing my studio as an adult. I started teaching under tutelage of my instructor in 2004.
I can't ask her. How old are you?
I'm 31.
Okay.
You're just a baby.
Well, I can tell you how old I am and how long have I done it, so you can do the math. on my
Okay.
life.
You're going to get me in trouble, dude. So you've been doing it a while.
Yeah.
And before that, you...
So I started teaching when I was 14 under tutelage of my instructor. Got my black belt when I was 16. And then started running classes because my instructor was going through a really rough divorce. And so I was just kind of running classes and program for him. And
By
then
the way, there's no other kind of divorce but a rough divorce. Trust me on that
I
one.
left in 2006, 2007, came back in 2009. And then my friend recruited me to teach at his school. unfortunately, there's way too much politics involved, and he told me to leave. And he's like, hey, leave, and you'll have no influence. I took all of his black belts.
So, oh, great. Are you happy
They
about
followed
that?
me. Well, I didn't actually.
How you feel about that, Skylar?
I felt pretty good because
okay.
he badmouthed my name,
Strike
and
one.
I just sort of left, and they followed me. So I started Red Rock martial arts, kind of out of a vengeance kind of thing, but turned into something a lot more.
I dated my ex's girlfriend for that same reason. Anyway, so
Ed, look at you.
I was much younger.
Rebel.
Then. I know, right? Are there any kind of regrets that either one of you have? I mean, obviously, owning your own business, you got rent, you got insurance, you got all these. Do you have employees, or is it just you guys? You have employees?
We have employees.
Okay.
We have a total of, let's see, 1, 2. We have 3, not including him and I, but.
So you got all those added expenses.
Absolutely.
You know, I've owned businesses, and sometimes you lay awake at night and you're going,
Yeah.
I know, I could be.
Well, both of us could attest. We
work
both
at
had a pretty
Starbucks.
awesome incident that happened to us on Easter weekend. So-
Really? Do I want to know? I don't want to know.
No.
No,
Okay.
it's
Story
Gotcha.
for a different day.
Gotcha.
Yeah, different
You tell
day.
me off the air,
Different
and then we'll
day.
tell it another time.
Well, you know, the one thing that I can say, and then Celeste and I, is that our master gave Celeste and I advice that said, one day you're going to go forward, you're going to turn around, and you'll never see the waves and the legacy you built until you turn around.
Right.
When Celeste and I moved to Las Vegas, or moved away from Las Vegas, she forgot to say we actually ran a company called Vegas Combat in Vegas.
Sweet.
And when we moved here, my job moved me here, and we dissolved our business and moved here with the intent to retire. Once we retired, family, friends, students, and everybody were begging and asking for her to come out of retirement. And so when the world kind of says,
Sure.
you know what, you're needed,
Sure.
we decided to open our business. And when you're in it for not money, the money comes. And that's the one
That's
thing I
very
can
true.
absolutely say.
May not come right away.
Absolutely not. There's
but it
blood,
comes.
sweat, and tears.
Sure.
But when your heart's in the right place, people see it, and people come, and they join because of you, not because of what you teach. And then when they actually learn, they stay because of what you teach.
Gotcha.
So to answer your questions, no regrets.
I think my biggest regret is working a full-time job and not. My wife tried to get me to quit a full-time job a long time ago and just do my
Sometimes it's hard to
business-
let go of that, though, dude.
My business
That's-
full-time.
that's
but I was
steady
like,
income.
Yeah, that's steady income, and I regret that. So I wasted a lot of time not being able to grow because I just stayed where I was.
But you guys are young. I mean, you're 31. You said, how old are you?
I'm 40. So if
40.
me and my wife have been married together for 23 years.
Don't
so
go
I've
there,
done
dude.
martial arts for 23
I'm a
years.
cougar. I'm 69.
Wow.
Okay, so
Am I
aging.
talking loud
Yeah.
enough for
Yes,
you?
Thank you.
yeah, so
Wow.
when we got married, she converted me into the martial arts world. So we've been together 23 years. So you can do the math of how long my beautiful wife.
I refuse to do the math.
Yeah.
I don't even want to
She
be an
has been
accessory
doing
to
it
that
for
crime.
I'm 31.
I know you are.
Skylar's like, dude, I'm just 31.
But still, you got your
She
whole.
has done it for as many Skylar years been alive.
That's awesome. You just put yourself on the sofa tonight, buddy.
I doubt it.
I'll
You
be
know
right
what? The
there
good thing
next
is
to
you
him.
can look at her and you never be able to tell.
So let's talk about how you get clients. I mean, every business is different. You know, do you spend a lot of money on advertising and marketing with what you guys do? How is it that you get new people in the door? Referrals, advertising. You doing social media? I hope that's a big thing these days.
Yeah, all of that. The biggest is for us is we do like community events, and when you do a community event, you get already people in there, and then you just do like a seminar or whatnot, and usually birthday parties or something like that is. Yeah, we do amazing birthday
That's
parties.
awesome.
Our birthday parties bomb. I mean, they're real good.
That's awesome.
We got nominated for Best of Southern Utah.
My birthday's
so.
May 26th. I'll have you come and do something.
All right.
I don't think so. Not at this party.
You know, of course, we have our social media platforms. That's how we get a lot of things out there. But for us, it's word of mouth. And it's just by being 100% what they're asking for, what they expect. It's customer service. So it's word of mouth. We don't spend a whole heck of a lot on advertising, honestly. We just don't. And we get asked to go and do things like this all the time. We go to churches and we go to different types of functions and whatnot. A lot of it is just through awesome customer service and care. And just being 100% involved with our community. We're big on community and doing outreach programs and getting out there and doing charity work.
How we met you was strictly through someone else that's a current student.
Yep.
Said these guys are amazing people. And it's the same thing we do, self-defense for young women in Relief Society.
Community's huge here.
It's
Tuesday
very
night
huge
Relief
here.
Society and things like that, where they'll ask us to come into the church and teach the
You're
young
the reason the
women,
90-year-old
young
lady I go to church with is fighting me all the time.
Right.
That's your,
That's
thank
why
you.
she can use her
Sorry,
cane so
That-
well.
Great.
Every
Sorry.
young girl and boy should absolutely be able to know how to confidently say back off. There's
Absolutely.
one thing that you don't have to give permission to be is be rude.
I agree.
In this town and in this community, being rude is so underrated, and you're told to not be. It gets you in bad situations super quickly.
Sure.
That by calling a spade before it gets too deep in the water to panic.
Yeah. So I came from California before here.
Where you
And I-
understand that a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Road rage, man, is huge. Out here, it's like, no, you go. No, you go. No, you
please,
go.
after you.
No, after you. I'm
Or
like,
they just blink, no blinker. And
Yeah.
cut them off. There's like, whatever.
or they have their blinker on for a mile, which is what I
Right.
call the
Right.
eventual left.
Seriously,
You know?
folks, man.
Oh, it's terrible.
Ah.
So you get a lot of word of mouth, obviously.
Absolutely.
Do people stay long? Do they stay with you guys for a long time? I mean, what's the average? Somebody starts as a youth. How long do they stay?
We
Adults.
have an excellent retention rate. We have,
You
well
can have
over,
lifers. You can have,
Yeah.
it's
We have a
like
great
you said,
retention
it's
rate.
all over the world. With our organization, with Krav Maga, we have 60 organizations where you can transfer to LA, you can transfer to Idaho, you can transfer to Phoenix, and there's USKMA Krav schools.
That's the
Just
organization,
like what-
USKMA.
United
Yeah.
States Krav Maga
Just like
Association.
how
There's an
Skylar was
association?
saying with
Oh, yeah.
the
Awesome.
Tung Soo Do, there's organizations where you can go and you can learn what Skylar is teaching and feel confidently move to another state and get the same sort of teaching.
Right.
Same with us. You could confidently be with us, go to another state, and that's no different than the business world. You can have a different boss and may hate your job, but it's the same organization. Just like you can have different instructors, you can have different whatever. But there's a brotherhood and a sisterhood and a family,
Sure.
even across the United States, of organizations where they teach this consistent.
You know, the martial arts industry makes up less than 5% of the whole world in the business
This
realm.
makes it so sad.
It's-
Really?
It's super
I
small.
didn't even know that.
So we're 1%ers, I like to call us, and I hope you don't mind that you're mixed into that 1%
Right.
group. That makes you super
He's
rare.
smiling.
You're even-
1%'s good.
You're even smaller because you're a redhead. So,
Right.
I'm a 3/4%.
redhead, you know,
I'm a feisty ginger. I like to call
ginger,
myself.
martial arts. Come on. No.
But you know, 1% of the population that chooses to put themselves on a lifelong journey of martial arts. It's not like soccer or football or some of these seasonal sports that parents go and, oh, you need to go do soccer, you need to play this, you need to play basketball, and it's a very seasonal thing. And you're lucky if kids stick with it for longer than that season versus martial arts. And I know Skylar does this in his community too, and in his dojang, is it's life skills. We're teaching children life skills. So as right now we're teaching children all about integrity, doing the right thing even when nobody's looking. And it's seriously a huge pivotal moment for kids when they realize, hey, my parents and my instructor are on the same team here.
Right.
And we're building these kids up. We're not tearing them down. And
I think that's one of the biggest things about it.
Yeah,
it's life
Biggest
skills.
benefits.
When you
absolutely.
talk about, you mentioned at the very beginning, like we're like competition, but really my business mentor always says this: true competition is all of those non-traditional. There's more traditional sports, the soccers, the basketballs,
Sure.
the baseballs. It's like heartbreaking when you're teaching a kid and their parents are like, they love it, but they're gonna try baseball. You're like,
Yeah, I'd imagine you get some of those.
because
yeah.
you don't go to a coach and you don't be like, hey, teach my kid about honesty, teach my kid about focus, teach my kid about.
That's
this.
because the dad would rather yell at the ump than get into a fight with you. That's what
Right.
I'm getting.
But I could legitimately say
Yeah.
we see kids change. Like,
yeah, I'd imagine.
we have a tagline in school, building better kids, and it's because of that. Like, it's not that kids are bad inherently, but build better kids, build kids to be respectful from the get-go, build kids to be confident in themselves, to understand that, hey, you might look different, but, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter because in a traditional sports setting, they automatically kind of scale your talent, and then you get experience based on your talent. So it's like if I'm a little kid and I wasn't very good at dribbling the basketball. Then now I have to sit on the bench and watch all my friends play the game.
Right.
And that's not very fun.
For martial arts, you can continue to learn.
Yeah,
No
it's
matter
the
your
opposite.
shape, size, or
It's a
age.
lifelong journey. And the thing that I love about martial arts, the top two things that you as a parent, Ed, and I'm sure because you have, how many was it?
I have 4 that I know of.
4.
There's also that lady in Vegas. You never know.
Charity.
Yeah.
Where are you, girl?
She's going to come hit you up.
Right? She's going to get you. Get child support. The top two things parents source martial arts for their children. Structure, discipline. Because they want those backed up at home. And it's not a lack for parents not being good parents or not trying. It's just they need that backup of like, hey, I want to make sure I'm doing the right things for my kids. And it's a foundation. I can't tell you how many times I've dipped in and out of martial arts industry. I should be a master by now. I've been in so many. I've dipped
Life
my
happens,
hands. Right.
right?
Life definitely happens, but I've dipped myself in so many disciplines that I'm a master of none. And I'm okay with that. And I'll tell you why I'm okay with that. Because every single time I go in and I give myself and I'm learning, I'm a big white belt every time I walk into anybody's studio. I want to learn and I'm absorbing as much information that I can so that way I can pass on a different kind of progressive type hybrid martial arts to these folks. And it's a lifelong journey. You find yourself, even if you walk away for a year or two, you always find your way back to it. It's a lifelong journey.
Sure. And I would imagine that even though you teach the same pretty much to everybody throughout, time or 6 weeks or whatever, a year, everybody's at a different level. So you've got to take them for what they're worth at that point and build them as far as you can get them based on their level and their attention span and all that, and what's good for them may not be good for you or may not be good for me, but it's great for them. You know what I mean? And here's the thing too, these days, everybody's doing this, they're all,
Right.
Nobody goes outside anymore.
No.
To me, this is a great way for people to have exercise and stay in shape and be able to focus on something other than.
Well, it's our job as instructors to listen to why they're coming in for the first place.
Right.
The children are obviously going to have a different viewpoint. As
My
to
mom
why-
made me.
My mom made me. And, but when you actually sit there and listen to the child, they do want that confidence. Sure. They do, believe it or not. And I hope you agree with me. And if you don't, I'm cool with it. But kids want to be told what to do.
Oh, no,
Yes.
I 100%
I agree. I agree
agree
with that.
100%.
They do. They
want
want
to,
it.
like,
They want it.
They just don't know how to, like, put it into words that they can use. Like, they want to be able, they love that focus. They want to prove to you. I love when I have a new mom come in and we do, like, a trial class and evaluate where they are. And they have a 5-year-old and they're like, I'm like, okay, now we're going to set a timer for 1 minute. Your kid's going to sit still, like, they just laugh at me. I'm like, watch.
We got about 30 seconds left. Give me your website.
RedRockMartialArts.com.
Give me your website.
BreakthroughFitness.com.
Any specials that you're running these days if they want to come in, first class, try it out kind of thing?
Do you mind?
Go for it.
3 classes, only $19, folks. You get free gloves and a 30-minute free private session.
And what do you got?
We do 1 week free training and then 1 month of uniform for $99.
Love it. Martial arts, self-defense. It's where it's at. Stick around, everybody. We'll see you down at your place right over here, Saint City, Red Rock Martial Arts. Thanks for coming out, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
You guys rock.
Thank you. Take it rock.
Thanks for listening to Startup Nation with Ed Tracey.